Hello YouTubers and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about parts cars and 928 transmissions. Unfortunately, the transmission in my dad's 87 928S4 has started to slip and is in need of replacement. His car came from the factory with option 220, which is a very desirable limited slip differential. Porsche no longer offers new transmissions with limited slip differential, but you can order a new transmission from Porsche with an open differential. Because of this, I need to do some part swapping before we place the order for a new transmission, because there's no way I'm sending back a limited slip differential with my core. This is where having a parts car comes in handy. I actually have two cars that are in need of some transmission work, my dad's 87 928S4 and my Big Red project car, which is an 85 928S. The problem with the transmission in Big Red is it came from the factory with an open differential. An open differential won't provide the traction needed for a big horsepower engine that Big Red is receiving, so this is where swapping of parts comes in. Porsche will need a like-for-like core, and since we're receiving a transmission with an open differential from them, I'll be sending back a core transmission with an open differential. So today, I'm going to show you how to remove the differential and pinion gear from the transmission we just pulled out of this parts car. So here's the transmission that we removed out of my parts car out back. So this is the limited slip differential, and this is the transmission housing with the torque converter up front. So what I'm thinking is, you've got these series of bolts that go all the way around the outside of the casing here, where the differential mounts to the body of the transmission. And if I remove all those, I'm hoping this unit will separate. The first thing I'm going to do is drain the old gear oil from the differential. I bought this parts car almost 10 years ago, so I'm sure whatever fluid that remains in it is probably pretty nasty. Ugh, yep, that fluid didn't disappoint me. Now that the fluid is drained out of the differential housing, I'm now going to pop off the cover to the differential and make sure everything looks good in there. The first thing I want to do is thoroughly inspect the ring gear. I want to make sure that all the individual teeth are intact and show no signs of damage. What I'm looking for is making sure that there are no chips or damage to the ends and edges of the teeth. The surface of the ring gear teeth should be smooth. If the surface of the teeth looks like wood grain with patterns of scoring all across, this is not normal wear and the gear will need to be replaced. Thankfully, everything looks healthy, so I'll continue with the removal process. Alright, here comes the fun stuff. Now I'm ready to separate the differential from the transmission housing. There are a series of bolts that go around the perimeter of the housing that will need to be removed. There are two bolts on the bottom of the differential housing that gave me a little trouble since their threads are exposed to the elements, but I was able to finally get them removed with the help of PB Blaster. The key with stubborn bolts is patience. The strategy I use with rusty bolts is thoroughly soak them with PB Blaster and then repeatedly loosen and tighten them. This works the penetrating oil into the threads and helps remove the bolts without breaking anything. I now have all the bolts removed and now need to separate the differential from the transmission. I do this by very gently tapping on the differential housing with a sledgehammer to separate it from the transmission. A rubber mallet or dead blow hammer might be a better tool to use if you are the type of guy who has trouble understanding the word gently. Alright, so up until this point, the process has been pretty easy. Now comes the hard part, and that is removing the pinion gear from the transmission shaft. I tried removing this pinion gear for a couple days straight and had no luck. I own a variety of two-jaw pullers and not a single one of them could remove this pinion gear. The problem I kept having is the jaws kept sliding off the pinion gear whenever force was applied. Since I didn't want to risk damaging the gear, I decided to go tool shopping and found a puller that's God's gift to the shade tree mechanic. So what makes this tool so fantastic? Let me show you. So this is what I was using. This is a typical two-jaw puller. I have a few of these. Every single one that I tried, no matter how careful I was, they just kept sliding off the pinion gear. So I tried that for a few days, trying to mess around with getting that to work. It wouldn't. So I found this tool online, made by OTC. This is a special puller, and the beauty of this one is, as you can see, you got your two jaws on either side, but then you have a bar that goes across the two jaws, forcing them, or in essence preventing them from sliding off. So you just tighten up these two nuts on either side, and you can apply as much pressure as you want without having to worry about these jaws sliding off the gear that you're trying to remove. So the moment I bought this tool, man, this thing came off like butter. It was no problem whatsoever. So let me show you how easy it is to remove this pinion gear when you have the proper tool. Alright, day 3 of trying to remove this pinion gear off the back of this 928 transmission. I've just been having a heck of a time with it. I tried originally just with one of these two-jaw pullers, but the problem was it just kept slipping off right here. So once you put a lot of pressure on it, it would boom, let go like that and just roll off. So I gave up on that and I ordered this tool from Amazon. It's from OTC, and the nice thing about this tool is not only does it have the nice hooks, deep hooks that go way deep back in there, but also has this bar right here that will prevent these jaws from separating out. So this tool was pretty pricey. I think it was about 150 bucks, somewhere around there. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to get one of these, but I'm being optimistic here, that this tool will finally get this pinion gear off. So let's find out. And that's how I remove the pinion gear from this transmission. Isn't it amazing how having the right tool can make a job so easy? Trying to remove this pinion gear with my standard two-jaw puller was so painful that I just had to do a video on it. I know only about 5 people will ever see this video, but if that helps those 5 people remove their pinion gear, then this video has served its purpose. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. If you'd like to see more 928 videos, make sure you hit that like button. So long and happy wrenching.